Hi, you're listening to Oh Crap with Jamie. This is a podcast for parents working hard to break the cycles while dropping the F-bomb a lot. I'm your host, Jamie Glowacki, and I am the author of Oh Crap Potty Training and Oh Crap I Have a Toddler. And I am so happy you're here. Hey guys, welcome. So today I want to talk about tantrums and what are developmentally appropriate tantrums and what are not. So whenever I talk about tantrums, it always comes up about like what's developmentally appropriate and what's not. So tantrums, first of all, let's get some definition straight. One thing I like to do is differentiate tantrums from meltdowns. Okay, so meltdowns often happen when we are just beyond capacity, right? And meltdowns can happen with older kids. They can happen with adults, right? It's usually like when we've just had enough for whatever reason. We're like overstimulated, maybe hungry, tired. Those are also triggers for tantrums, but those often cause a meltdown, which is like, I can't, right? And a lot of times meltdowns are fixable. They're easy to attend to, right? Like, are you this? And the person can respond. They can usually be touched. Tantrums are like volatile, through the roof, looks like your child's possessed. You can't make eye contact. You cannot talk to the child. You cannot do any logic. There's nothing at all that can be done. Okay. So I differentiate those because oftentimes when we're talking specifically like with kids older than 5 or 6, older than that, tantrums are not appropriate. Meltdowns are going to happen, right? Then that's just how, life works. So when we look at the things that trigger a tantrum, and again, we're looking at the under 4 crowd. After 3.5, maybe 4, tantrums are not developmentally appropriate. Okay. So something's going on and you may need help. So again, I'm talking about that volatile, bring down the house, everybody's on their knees, like that kind of tantrum, not developmentally appropriate for older years. For the younger crowd, it is because they're new. They don't have any skills yet. Your 5-year-old should have skills. While they may lose the ability, like in a moment, they shouldn't be so highly reactive with zero impulse control that you get that volatility. Okay. And again, it simply means that you may need some help, right? When we look at tantrums, there are 4 things that trigger tantrums. Okay. So we have hungry, tired, overstimulated, and loss of control. These things also can trigger a meltdown, but it's more, what do I want to say? Again, the meltdown is just easier to deal with, right? It's more like, it's like I can't even anymore. Okay. But when we talk about toddlers, these are the 4 things that can trigger a tantrum. So let's run through them because I feel like this is where parents get a little mucked up. So out of those 4, we have control. We have absolute utter control over 3 of them, and we have some control over the 4th. So hungry, tired, overstimulation, that is on you. That is on you, the parent, and you have control. Loss of control is the 4th thing that triggers a tantrum. And yeah, you have some control over that. Let me explain. When we get to loss of control, there are 2 areas of control that I'm talking about. One is the child's autonomy. Do they feel autonomous? Do they feel in charge of their own body? So this encapsulates sort of giving them some options, letting them have some control. This also takes in, do they have chores? Are they part of the family? Do they feel like they're valuable? Do they feel like they have a task that it keeps them in, part of the community? Or are they always off to the side on YouTube Kids while you're doing all the chores? Is that what's happening? Because that child then does not have a lot of autonomy. They do not feel valuable and part of the group. Okay. Now, the second part of loss of control is when something is suddenly out of their control. And this, believe it or not, out of all these things, the hunger, tired, overstimulated, and loss of autonomy, loss of control, this sliver is the part that actually most tantrums are because of. And this is, you cut the sandwich wrong, you open the yogurt wrong, you peeled the banana when they said to peel the banana. Like, these things, you did something wrong, you were breathing wrong. That loss of control, that sliver of loss of control, that's a true tantrum that we cannot control. Like, we just have no control over that. And attempting to control that will never work. So you can ask your child 9 times when they're 3, are you sure you want me to peel the banana? Are you sure? I'm going to peel the banana. Then you peel the banana and they freaking fall out, right? And that happens. So the illusion of controlling it is just that. It's just an illusion. But let's break these down into, because I feel like I was thinking about these triggers, and I had kind of an aha moment, because these are the things that I think are literally the foundation of the 0 to 6 years. They're the foundation. If you attend to these things, and these things only, like, these are your job, they are your job. This is the crux of building that 0 to 6 foundation super strong. Okay. And I was like, oh my God, it's not just about placating or trying to avoid a tantrum. If we live and die by these 4 tenets, these 4 chair legs, we will have a stable foundation. You will have an enjoyable 0 to 6 years, where then you can move on to the garden and the guide stages and not have all this craziness. Hungry. Is your child hungry? Now, there's a couple of ways we can look at hunger. We can look at hunger as, like, is your child like hangry? Number one, first and foremost, nobody should be hangry. If you are hangry, that means you have blood sugar issues. So I used to jump on board with this term all the time. I was like, yeah, I got hangry. Yeah, because we're snacking the hell out of our lives and we have blood sugar going all over the place. And this goes for adults and kids. So the hangry they shouldn't be hangry. Now, do kids need a lot of food? Yes. And I think the younger the kid, the more frequent meals they need. They need mini meals. I like to think of this as mini meals. They need several mini meals throughout the day. You can call this a snack if you want, but snack in our culture has become code for snacky snacks, which is what I call pre-packaged, ultra-processed shit food. And I'm not going to hold back. That's what it is. And I'm not placing a moral value on food. It's just, it's not good for the body. Okay. So that's our snacky snacks. When kids get that, they get no nourishment. And that also usually is carby. It's usually starchy. It's usually sugary. And that can contribute to the blood sugar roller coaster, which also gets known as hangry. Okay. So do I think kids should eat when they're hungry? Absolutely. I think they should eat nutritious food. I think they should have cheese sticks. I think they should have chunks of chicken. I think they should have, plain yogurt with fruit. I think they should have hard-boiled eggs. I think they should have chunks of butter. All of these things are awesome as little mini meals, or if you want to call them snacks. I think they should be eating snacks, okay? I think kids should also be able to have a level of hunger that is, when your blood sugar is level and you're eating nourishing foods, you can feel hungry, but you're not hangry. You don't get a moody. It's just like, oh yeah, I'm hungry. I can wait till I get home. I think there's nothing wrong with going to 3 meals. There's quite a few moms on Instagram right now that are doing that, and I love it. They've eliminated snacks because we've just gotten so snacky, and kids aren't eating. Picky eating's on the rise. All these things are going wrong with food. It's astounding to watch. And I've watched, as long as I've been in this business, I'm watching it devolve and deteriorate in the last year. Like, it's bad, you guys. I wouldn't sound the alarm. Usually I'm like, you know what? I like to meet people where they're at. And it's unacceptable how we are not nourishing our kids. I feel like these kids are going to be sick and infirm by the time they're 20. So it shows in their behavior, it shows in their health, and it shows in their, also like how sick they're getting. Anyway, I digress. I think kids should absolutely eat. And I think that you should just have these foods available for them and get out of the snacky snack culture. So are they hungry? Yes, like they may need food. I agree with that. So you're out at the children's museum, you're out at the playground, and your kid is hungry, and you offer them cheese stick with a meat stick with a hard-boiled egg. They don't want that, then chances are they're not hungry. Chances are they're looking for a snack. Dr. Robert Sivas, he's a carb addiction doctor, and he says snacks are always a psychological event. And I love that. I think there's nothing wrong, like I said, going to 3 meals a day. You have to actively buck against snack culture. But again, feel free to bring. I myself have a bento lunchbox that I keep all my little snacks in, my light hard-boiled eggs and little bits of cheese or whatever. And I've told this story before on the podcast, but it's worth repeating. Pascal started going to a sleepaway camp, a family camp in New Hampshire with my aunt. And I went to this camp as a kid, and it's so much fun. It's like old school camp, like canoeing and water skiing and, arts and crafts and that kind of thing. And, he came home and he said to me, "Oh my God, Mom, the food was so good." And I was like, "No, the food is not good." They have like a dining hall, like you all eat together, right? Like a mess hall. And it's like institutional food. It's not good food. It's food to feed the masses. And I was like, "But that food is not good." He was like, "No, that food was delicious." And then it occurred to me, he was running around all day, not snacking at all. And he had 3 meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the mess hall. And he was hungry and he ate big meals. So this idea of hunger triggering a tantrum, I think, is so multifaceted because it's not just about the feeling of hunger. It's a nutritional hunger too. Like if your child is constantly eating prepackaged snacky snacks, they are not getting nourished. So the body wants more. The body will keep eating in an effort to get more nutrition. Okay. Also, when blood sugar is all over the place, the body's going to keep crying out for more starches to level off that blood glucose. So keep that in mind when we talk about hunger. It's not just about not having food. It's also about not having nourishment, and that can trigger tantrums. Now, if your child is having several tantrums every day, that is not developmentally appropriate. And the very first place I would look is nutrition. And so many parents, I've worked with so many families, I've heard from so many adults who wish they knew more about nutrition when they were younger, that their parents had taught them more about nutrition. I talk to so many neurodivergent adults who are like, "No, I manage so many of my symptoms by food. And I wish my parents had known this. My parents let me eat junk because they thought like I was neurodivergent and super picky and that's what I needed." No, they wish they'd been taught. So it's up to us to take care of that. I keep a cooler in my car, like a Yeti cooler. And I did this when Pascal was younger. Now I do it just for me. But I keep a cooler in my car, especially in the summer, because I just take off for the day. I don't necessarily know where I'm going to end up. And I have hard-boiled eggs. I have these things. I love hard-boiled eggs, which is why I keep saying that. But I think they're the perfect snack food. But I keep all of this in a cooler all the time so that I always have things on the go. And when Pascal was little, I did that so that I had these bento box lunch boxes so he could have food whenever he said he was hungry, but we weren't relying on prepackaged snacks. All right. So again, as I say these, I also want you to start thinking about the biggest thing I'm running into right now with the people I'm working with online community, the Oh Crap Cafe community, Instagram, YouTube comments, is everybody is exhausted and too busy. So I want you to look at these things as I go through them and think, okay, I need to make room for these things and these things only. Feeding your child nourishing food is far more important under 6 years old than any sports, than any activity, than any birthday party. Making sure your child and your family is nourished takes precedent over any outside things. And I keep hearing from people, I am not giving up any time on my weekend to prepare food. Literally, people are saying that. And I'm like, okay, then, and you don't want to cook every night. So what's happening? Like, we have to sacrifice some of our busy to attend to these things. And hunger by far is the most important thing. It is our fuel, you guys. It's the building block for our cells, for our well-being, for our brain, for our kids' brain development. Like, how we are just shoving food under the rug or keeping it as a last thought is astounding to me. So, but know that it's a huge trigger for tantrums. Okay, moving on. Overtired. This is next up. It is astounding to me how we are not attending to sleep. Sleep is the most important nutrients. Okay. So if we're going to talk about food, we got to talk about other nutrients. Sleep is one of them. So is sunlight. So if your child is not sleeping, please get help. Please, please, please. It is not okay to say, my kid doesn't sleep. Oh, he's just tired. That's why he's falling out. No, fix it. There's a chronic thing going on. Toddlers should be in bed by 7 o'clock, if not earlier. Okay. Toddlers should not be going to bed at 8:30, 9 o'clock. That's too late, especially if they have to get up for daycare or preschool. It is too late. They need more sleep. And routinely, I'm hearing, well, dad doesn't get home till this time, or mom's not home yet. We don't serve the needs of the parents. We serve the needs of the child. Okay. If your spouse doesn't get home till later, then maybe they get up early with the child. Maybe weekends are super special, but you have to attend to sleep. Kids who are overtired do not stand a chance. For every hour a child loses of sleep, it affects their cognitive development. This is how smart they're going to be, guys. Okay. Like, and we're not giving our kids a chance to be their best selves if they're chronically underslept. A good marker for when you found a good bedtime is it takes about 10 minutes to drift off to sleep. If your child is falling asleep at the table or in a chair, or, you know, those cute posts you see of kids like falling asleep kind of like upside down, cute, but not funny. That's way overtired. Okay. One of the things that's so beneficial, I've talked about it before on this podcast, is getting rid of your LED lights at nighttime. So unfortunately, incandescent lights were made illegal. You can't buy them. I think now you can start to buy them again. But so all the lights we have in our homes are LED. LED emits blue light. This is why things like blue blockers are such a big deal, and you're constantly hearing about them. Blue light is part of the sunlight's full spectrum, okay? And blue is what is emitted from sunlight at high noon. So it signals to our body that it's high noon. So if you have recessed lighting, if you have, I call it big lighting, a lot of other people do too, big overhead lighting, it's LED. Okay. Lamps, everything is LED, really. So one thing that is hugely beneficial is if you can shut off all the lights as the sun is going down. I know this is not possible here in the Northeast. It's going to be really wonky when we do the time change because it's going to get dark at like 4, right? So this may not be available. Like, you may need, of course, your lights on to cook and have your evening routine. But as soon as you can, shut off all the lights so that the body gets the signaling, the appropriate light signaling that it's time to go to sleep. This has been a dial mover for all my clients. Go get cheap red lights. You can buy them on Amazon, little red lamps. This isn't the same as red light therapy. This is not expensive. These are literally just red light bulbs. You can get them at Tractor Supply. You can get them at all kinds of places. just a red light bulb and a cheap lamp. And you can put that on as nighttime happens. It mimics firelight, but it also contains no blue light. So it signals to the body that it's time to go to bed. So if you feel like your toddler just is too restless and not ready for bed, it's probably the light. Never mind if they're watching something on a screen, that's going to be highly stimulating, but also that blue light. So put these safeguards on, because just the lighting alone can make a huge difference. Overtired for you, parents, for you. Okay. Sleep has to be a priority in these early years. I'm promising you guys, after 5, 6 years old, parenting levels off. You catch your breath. It is so important, though, to treat your family life like you are freaking athletes in these early years, because you are. It's not, you have to forego some social events. You have to forego all the things you want to do, particularly if you're single or you're both working outside the home. Stick to these things. Good sleep, good food. That's it. Like, just those are going to be time consuming. Yeah. Get more sleep as much as you can, and things will level off, right? The physical neediness of these years. But if you have multiple kids and you're drowning, these are the things I want you to kind of get back to, just like old fashioned. Just slow it down. Okay, so that's overtired. The next thing that triggers tantrums, yes, is overstimulation. By far, our kids are so overstimulated. And it's really funny. I just had my little nephew turned 1, and I went to his birthday party. Well, I guess he's like my grandnephew. And I said, it's so funny. Like, babies, we think they've got it so good, right? Like, this kid was there, and he's a pretty happy-go-lucky kid. But it was kind of astounding to me, the number of people who came up, like, on the side of him or behind him, and, like, had their hands on him and were smooching his neck, and he, like, couldn't see them. He couldn't like, and the amount of people who, like, just come right up to his face, "Oh, you're so cute. Oh, no," and touch him. And I'm not saying, like, we have to get into, like like, don't touch the baby or anything like that, but wow, it's like this poor kid was being poked and prodded, and, like, I was like, oh man, it's gotta suck being a baby and being like, who the frick is touching me now? Right? Or, like, just in my face. So just that is overstimulating. But the lights, the sound, screen time, guys, I've, I, I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss because I've done more than a 180 on this. And I used to be so pro tech. You heard my other podcast. But the screen time is awful. Just please, just don't even have it. Just try not to bring it into your house. But it's very overstimulating. If you have to have it, have those low stim shows. Put color filters on most smart TVs. I know computers, phones, they can go on night shift mode, which makes it like grayscale. Take the blue light out of it, because that's the thing that's stimulating. That's also, like I said, emitting the signal that it's noon. So that's a lot of times why. On dragging your kid to activity, overstimulating. Constantly in and out of the car, overstimulating. Constantly going to birthday parties, overstimulating. There is going to be time for this, you guys. Their childhood is long. It's like long and short, right? There's going to be so much time for all these things at 5, 6, 7, and your kids are going to enjoy it, and it's going to be so fun. Not now. They don't need it now. They need you. They need to be in a non-stimulating environment. And I swear, one of the things that's killing me, and I realize it because I love a putter day. Like, I love the days it's usually on a weekend, right? Where you just putter. And what I mean is, you don't have anything to do. You don't even really write out your to-do list. You kind of just go from thing to thing, and maybe your spouse is cleaning the garage, or maybe it's the day you cut the lawn, or whatever you're doing, right? Like, these things that have to get done. The kitchen floor has got to get cleaned, catch up on laundry, make a couple of casserole meals that you can freeze for the week. This day, you need a putter day. And what I swear to God is so making parents so crazy is they're not getting a putter day because they've signed up for every activity, every sport, every birthday party. And now weekends don't belong to you. So now you work and you have no catch up day. You have no day to catch up, not catch up like mustard. You have a mustard day, but you need a catch up day. You need a day to putter around the house, to get things done. Again, batch cook a couple of casserole meals that can be frozen. Take some time, plan out those nourishing meals, plan out what you're doing for the week. And when we take that day away, that was standard. That was a standard day. And so when we overstimulate our kids, not only do we risk tantrums because that happens, but we also risk them needing that stimulation all the time. If your kids are constantly bored or constantly asking you what to do, if they don't have a screen or they don't have an activity to do, you are probably overstimulating your child. Okay. They're getting too locked into, okay, what next? What next? The amount of parents who are like, I am not staying home. I'd go crazy. I have people who cannot potty train their kids because they are unwilling to stay home for one day, because they themselves will get bored. We're in trouble, guys. We're in big trouble. But anyway, bake the cookies, have a putter day. If you build this in the early days, it will help so much. It's your recovery day from you guys ran a marathon during the week. Again, especially if you're single. No, I think it applies for everybody because stay-at-home parents are just as exhausted, right? Like we're just tapped out from our own doing. So we're doing it to ourselves. And it's not necessary. It's not necessary for your child. It's not necessary for their development. A nice, easy existence. And that can include going to play cornhole at the local brewery with your friends. It can include some social time. Of course, I just want you to be more judicious about it. And in the early years, it doesn't have to be child focused. Let your child come along and be with you. Okay. That is one thing I really wish I'd done more of, like, especially like 0 to 4. I wish I'd done less kid focused things because they're parallel playing. That doesn't matter. Like being around other people. Yes. Being around other kids is of course great, but to expect them to have like friendships the way they're going to have after, 5, 6, 7, like that's different. So I really wish I'd done more things that, took care of my soul when he was little and not just things that I thought he had to do as a kid. Like if I had to do parenting again, I would not step foot in the freaking children's museum. I really wouldn't. But I do a lot of other things. I'd find moms who want to hike and I'd spend and we already did spend a lot of time in nature, but I would have been outside the whole time and I would have started more groups. I would have hiked more mountains. I would have kayaked and canoed more. Like that's like one of my things that I wish I'd done